SharePoint 2010 Training. Part 5. Editing information on your main page. By the end of this video, users will be able to use the editing features on the main page, use the editing features of the ribbon, find the web part modification menu, and modify web parts using the side editor. In order to edit your main page, what you do is come up to the top where you find the Edit menu. Click on the Edit menu, and the ribbon will load. The ribbon gives you all of the options that you need in order to edit everything on this page. At this point in time, we're going to change this from Welcome to Subject Name to Welcome to whatever subject you currently teach. For me, that would be English 7, 8. And then right here where it says we'll use this site to keep track of upcoming assignments, tests, and class events, you can leave that the way that it is, or you can add a personal message to your students. I look forward to working with you this year as we explore the amazing world of literature. On this site, we will participate in class discussions and all sorts of amazing activities. Of course, depending on your level that you teach, you might want to change that or you might not want to. It's completely up to you, but you can put a little personal message there. Now, that is us going in and editing an actual piece of this web page. And as soon as we get finished with that, we can hit Save and Close. And what that'll do is that will save our changes up here. You can see that those changes have now been saved. And you see that that only the pieces that we've actually started working with have changed. So we can go up and we can click on the Edit button again if we would like to, and we can put the cursor in other places. If we type down here, that's where our type will end up. If we type right here, that's where our type will end up. If you want to undo something, you simply go up to where it says undo, and that will delete whatever it was that you didn't want to have happen. You can change the formatting of texts, so I might want to stress a word like this. I would go up and I would hit the bold, and it would work just like it would in any word processing program. You can also change the text type. You can change how big it is. You can change the colors of it. You can highlight the pieces that you really want to make sure stand out. So I could do that, and I can highlight it with a color. And that's one of the ways that you can customize all of the text that you'll be dealing with on this sort of page. Now, you'll notice, though, that there's more to this page than simply having text. There is also all of these web parts that we're going to be looking at. And you can go into each one of these web parts and you can customize each one. The way that you would do that, if you have one of these web parts that you would like to customize, you simply select the web part, and you'll see that up here it now gives me the option to look at web part tools. And I can click on that, and you'll see that it gives me some different elements right here that I can go into. If I don't really want to deal with that, I can simply uncheck it, and that gets me back to being able to just work with the regular page again. You'll notice that you have a couple of other things that you can do with this. You have HTML coding that you can put in. You have the ability to put in hypertext markups, which means that you can make some of the pieces of this be formatted in some specific ways. We can get into more of that later in one of the advanced courses, but just know that that is an option for you. You can go through and you can pick different styles that you would like things to follow. You can also go through and do your spell checking and whatnot. Now, in addition to doing all of those things, you can also go in and you can add additional web parts. So if I put my cursor down here, I can go to where it says insert, and I can insert all sorts of things. I can insert pictures, I can insert tables, or I can also insert web parts. And if I click on where it says web part right here, you'll see that there are a whole list of things that I can put in here. So I can put in, for instance, I can put in an image web part, and I can go ahead and I can add that. Now you'll notice that at the bottom of this page, when it gets finished loading, you'll notice that at the bottom of this page, it gives me a whole list of images that have already been uploaded into an image library. So I can go in and I can put additional things into that image library. I can also go in and I can change the title of this. So if I go to where it says edit web part, and this is what you would do if you wanted to edit any of these web parts, you can go into the edit web part. That's how you get to the web part modification menu. You'll notice that I have some additional options now. In addition to all of the various web parts that I already had over here, and the list of options that I had up here, you'll see that I also have a new menu that appears on the right hand side, and I can go in and I can change the way that this particular web part is viewed. I can change the appearance of it, I can change the layout, I can get into advanced functions here, and I can do other things. But this is how you would get in if you really wanted to use the side editor in order to work with additional elements of these web parts. Probably the most important thing that you would want to have the ability to do would be to change the name. And so right here, if you click on where it says appearance, if you change this to what we're just going to say pictures right now, but if we change that to whatever you want the title of this web part to be, and then we say OK, you'll notice in just a second when it gets finished saving that I'll have announcements, calendar, team discussion, and instead of having a web part that says images, I will now have a web part that says pictures. So that's one way for you to customize these labels that are attached to your different web parts on your pages, so that you can give it the kind of flavor that you really want it to have. And as we scroll down to the bottom, it now says pictures instead of saying images. If you add a web part that you didn't really mean to add, or if you want to get rid of a web part that might be outdated, all that you have to do is click on the little box. If you hover over the web part, you'll notice that you get a little box. If you click on that little box, one of the things that you can do is go to where it says web part tools, go to where it says options, and you can click on delete. It'll ask you, are you sure that you want to do this? And you can say OK. Now, before I say OK on this, it's important to know that when you delete a web part that is referencing files that have been stored somewhere else, those files are not deleted, simply the web part is. So I'm going to say OK. And you'll notice that when it saves and then reloads, my pictures web part will no longer be there. So now at the bottom of the page, you'll see that there is no pictures web part. Now, most of the editing that you're going to be doing within SharePoint is probably going to be done within web parts. And so the next couple of parts of this tutorial will show you how to get in and actually edit those individual web parts. But if you wanted to edit just the overall page, or you wanted to edit the different pieces without having to go into a web part, again, you just simply go up to the top, get into your editing menu, and use the toolbars that are up here in order to both work with the text that you would like to add or edit, or to insert web parts or other things that you might want to put in.